Hello and welcome back to our channel Polar Vega. Today we're going to talk about probability enhancers. Probability enhancers are those parameters that may improve the chances of hitting your desired target in a trade. In simple terms, enhancers help in stacking the odds in your favor. But before we go on to the enhancers, we shall first look at the disclaimer/disclosure clause. Disclaimer/disclosure clause. The contents of this presentation are for information purposes only. The material has been obtained or derived from sources believed to be accurate, but we do not guarantee its accuracy. The presentation is the 19th of a series of interactive videos aimed at educating our viewers about basics of trading and investment. The agenda for today's discussion consists of 5 different parts. We shall start with the introduction to the probability enhancers, followed by the primary goals for these enhancers. We shall then talk a little about different kinds of probability enhancers, followed by the ways in which we can give a weightage to each enhancer, and then finally we shall summarize the scores obtained in a table and come to a decision where we can go in for a trade or we shall not go in for a trade. Now we come to the introduction of probability enhancers. These enhancers are identified chart patterns and variables which help a trader improve the chances of successful/profitable trades. The chart patterns are identified to locate order imbalances, behavioral patterns of traders, and the price action in the past. The information is assimilated and used to enter trades at current market prices with the expectation of price reaching desired targets and giving the trader substantial profits. While studying the importance of different kinds of probability enhancers, we shall have the following primary goals. The first and the most important of them all is to have more winners than losers. Then the second one is about the size of the profit should be twice or more than the losses that we incur on any trade that we take. This helps us in compensate for losses that we've already incurred on an earlier trade. Then we come to the establishment of a trade plan and testing of a plan with a minimum of 20 to 30 trades before accepting or rejecting it. And the last one is adherence to trade plan and discipline, while following it is always a given before deciding on any major changes to the plan or even before tweaking it a bit. We should now discuss different kinds of probability enhancers which have been established by our team of experts after a rigorous analysis and assessment of data over a given period of time. There is no proven record of data or any theory from any school or institution to justify the existence of these enhancers. However, statistically we've seen that these enhancers help us winning a trade better than without them. This list is not exhaustive and you could have many more provided that you've got statistical analysis of data backing the existence of the enhancers which you used to place while going into a trade. The list of enhancers that we've got here starts with the origin of explosive candles at the entry area, followed by duration of stay at the origin. Then we talk about freshness or the number of tests the area has had. Then we talk about the distance to the closest opposing zone, followed by correlation of the asset class with USD. And finally, we talk about the location of the origin, opposing zone, and the trend on the higher time frame. Having discussed various kinds of probability enhancers, it's time to take the weightage or the score for each probability enhancer that we wish to give them depending on their importance or the influence that they have on the trade. If the influence is very, very high, we give them a score of 2, or if it's moderate to high, we give them a score of 1. Otherwise, we give them a score of 0. For example, for the explosive move measured by the size of the candle. If it's thrice or more than 3 times the size of the loss, we give them a score of 2. If it's between 2 and 3 times, we give a score of 1, otherwise it's 0. Then we come to the time spent by the candle at the origin. This is measured by counting the number of base candles or dojis. If it's just one doji, we give a score of 2. If there are 2 dojis, we give a score of 1. And if there are more than 2 dojis or base candles, we give a score of 0. Then we talk about the freshness of the area where we take the trade. Depending upon the number of tests, if there are no tests, then we give a score of 2. If there's one test, then we give a score of 1. Otherwise, we give a score of 0. Then we come to the distance between zones. This distance is measured between the zone where we take the trade to the nearest opposing zone. If it's more than 3 times the loss we're going to make, then the score is 2. If it's between 2 and 3, then the score is 1. And if it's less than 2, then the score is 0. Then we come to the correlation of the asset class that we trade in with US dollars. For a direct correlation between USD, if the RSI is greater than or equal to 70, then we give a score of 2. If the RSI is greater than 60 but less than 70, we give a score of 1. And if the RSI is less than 60, we give a score of 0. And if it's an inverse correlation between the asset class and USD, then an RSI of 30 or lesser is given a score of 2. For an RSI which is greater than 30 but less than 40, we give a score of 1. And anything more than 40 is given a score of 0. And finally, we talk about the higher time frames or the intermediate time frame. If the trend and zone are the same as that on HT and IT, then we give a score of 2. And if the trend and zone are the same as only the IT and not the HT, then we give a score of 1. And otherwise, it's 0. Continuing with the weightage of each probability enhancer, we shall now talk about a score that could be preferable to take a trade or a score that would ask us to reject a trade. A perfect score of 12 is always preferable, but it may not be possible to get the perfect score for each trade, so we keep a limit at 9. We do not take a trade if the sum total of all probability enhancers is less than 9. Since each probability enhancer can give us a score of 0, 1 or 2, we must be very careful and honest in giving a score to each probability enhancer, as a trade that may appear to be very nice and appealing to a trader may not qualify on grounds of these enhancers. Although we may miss out some trades, but the enhancers certainly help us in finding the right trade and limit our losses to the minimum. Once we are happy with location and trend, we evaluate the probability enhancer score to see if it qualifies. Then we place the trade before arrival of price zone. In this video, we talked about different kinds of probability enhancers and the role that they play when we take a trade. We hope that you liked our video on probability enhancers and the way we can use them to our advantage and avoid getting faked by deceptive market moves. In our next video, we shall talk about different time frames and learn to look at the big picture and then filter down to lower time frames before we decide to go in and place a trade. If you liked our video, please give us a thumbs up and press the button underneath to subscribe to our channel Polar Vega and watch all our videos. You may also visit us at our website www.polarvega.com or get in touch with us through our Twitter handle @PolarVega. Please keep saving, keep investing, and keep getting wealthier until we meet next. We thank you for watching our video and request you to please like, share, and subscribe to our channel Polar Vega.